Hi, my name is Ranjot, and I'll be presenting a thesis alongside Barbara and Sarah. We predict the Paris Agreement will shorten the time frame for net zero carbon emissions from the year 2050 to 2035. The companies we evaluated are construction companies, and we recommend buying Flora Corporation and selling Transurban Group. As countries fall short of their emissions commitments as part of the Paris Agreement, the United Nations Environment Programme predicts that temperatures will rise between 2.5 and 2.9 degrees above pre-industrial levels by the year 2100, which is well above the Paris Agreement's goal of limiting warming to 2 degrees and ideally 1.5. The graph also highlights the importance and urgency in reducing and limiting emissions to constrain rising temperatures. Hence, we predict the Paris Agreement will shorten the timeframe for net zero carbon emissions from 2050 to 2035 as an effort to accelerate measures taken globally. In the graph above, we forecast that in Australia there will be a shift from government investment in road projects to greater public transport initiatives as an effort to reduce carbon emissions. Transurban Group is an Australian company that heavily relies on revenue from tolls and road development projects, and the decrease in project opportunities would negatively impact its valuation. At the same time, there will be a rapid shift away from fossil fuels and greater investment in nuclear power in the US. The US nuclear energy capacity graph has been revised to tripling its capacity to 300 gigawatts by 2035 instead of 2050, which Fluor is likely to benefit from immensely due to its experience in contracts in nuclear power infrastructure, as well as the increased opportunities to take on more positive net present value projects compared to its competitors. Barbara will now further continue the analysis.
Thank you, Ranjot. I'm Barbara, and in light of the recent revision to the Paris Agreement, we're modelling a significant market shock that we believe will result in a buy position in Fluor Corporation, as this policy acceleration is expected to trigger a wave of sustainable infrastructure investment. Fluor, with its long-standing focus on sustainability, is well positioned to capitalise. We've revised sales growth upward to reflect increased demand for green engineering solutions. Capital expenditures have been front-loaded to expand sustainable project capacity, as such investment will enhance Fluor's position in green technologies, digital engineering, and low-carbon construction methods. In response to this urgent investment requirement, short-term borrowings are introduced for the first time in over 5 years. In the later years, we've also increased depreciation to conservatively account for the accelerated use and potential obsolescence of new assets deployed in the earlier years. Overall, we believe such changes will lead to a 24% increase in Fluor stock price, resulting in an estimated stock price of $63.95. I'll be passing it on to Sarah now. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'll be presenting a sell position for Transurban. With the shortened timeframe of the Paris Agreement in 2035, we're going to see a dramatic shift of resources towards environmentally sustainable projects in Australia, particularly in public transport. This is likely to have the largest initial impact on Transurban, as the NPV of their projects will fall. Consequently, capex and expenditure on PPE is reduced as less future projects are planned and the need for long-term assets falls. However, some PPE will need to be maintained just for the upkeep of existing projects. Impacts on sales growth and revenue will be more long-term. The general population is not going to be able to immediately shift to public transport. That could take a few years, but revenues will certainly decline, but we've anticipated this most notably in 2029. We've also forecasted a reduction in short-term borrowings and in turn, their interest expenses. So this is just to further free up some cash flow and minimise the loss of revenues. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.